Hi, it's Dr. Susan Pierce Thompson, and welcome to the fourth and final video of the Food Freedom video series. If you're astute and you watched any of the first three videos, you might notice that something's a little different. And indeed it is. Those first three videos were shot as a set back in the fall of 2016. And a lot has transpired since then. In the fall of 2016, I had just a month prior handed back tenure. I was a tenured psychology professor, and for years I'd been teaching this college course on the psychology of eating, and I wanted to shoot a series of videos that would share with the world the science that I'd been teaching to my students for years, the neuroscience of food addiction, the psychology of eating, how the brain blocks weight loss, and exactly why it is that so many hundreds of millions of people, literally hundreds of millions of people around the world, are trying to lose weight day in and day out, year after year, and failing so miserably. So I shot those videos, and they went viral around the world. They've been shared now and viewed again in every single country on planet Earth. I'm talking about all 190 of the countries that Google Analytics tracks. There's only 5 other countries in the world, and North Korea, Cuba, where the internet's not legal and Google Analytics doesn't track it. Every country in the world, we're talking Antarctica and Svalbard, this tiny little nation on an island outside of Norway. So these videos went around the world, and so many people decided to enroll in our Bright Line Eating Bootcamp, tens of thousands. And now a couple of years have gone by, and the power of what has been released from the human potential and the transformations that have happened is something to behold. Now, I had a personal experience with that power just recently. I wasn't doing well personally, and I want to tell you this little story because, I think all of us struggle sometimes, right? There were some things going on in my family of origin, some things going on with my kids, some things going on with me personally. I wasn't a professor anymore, so I wasn't showing up live to teach classes. My work life was now isolated behind a laptop, and I was, as an extrovert, kind of suffering from isolation, and I just wasn't doing that well, and it was the time of year of our once-a-year Bright Line Eating Live event. We call it the family reunion, which is how we feel about each other pretty much, as we're family. And it was in San Diego. And I showed up to this family reunion. There were 400 people from Bright Line Eating who were flying in from across the United States and from all over the world to be at this event. And I was going to be on stage for 3 days teaching all of this science. And I had decided to meet everyone individually. And we did the math. With 1 minute a person, it would take 6 hours to meet everyone individually. And we scheduled a 4-hour block of time for the first day before the workshop started at dinner time, so from 1 to 5 p.m., and then 2 more 1-hour blocks later. So I'm standing in this little room. We've got a line outside the door, down the hall, and one by one, people are being brought into the room, and for 1 minute, we get to talk. Sometimes I sign a book, sometimes we take a picture, but mostly we just look into each other's eyes and talk. Now, I won't lie, 20 minutes into this, it's 1:20, 1:23, I look at my watch and I'm thinking, 4 hours? Like, really? Who scheduled this? I'm like, oh, right, I did. So I settle in for 3.5 plus more hours. And about 2 hours into this, something happens to me where the tears and the love and the gratitude and person after person, 1 minute after another minute after another minute, showing me their pictures. This is what I used to look like, Susan. And Bright Line Eating has saved my life. I used to have arthritis. I used to have diabetes. I used to have heart disease. Look, I had a heart attack. Now all my numbers are fine. I'm not on any medication anymore. I used to not be able to walk. I used to not be able to get out of the attic. I used to live up in the attic and never come down. I never used to ride a bike. I never used to play with my kids. I never used to play with my grandkids. person after person after person in right-sized bodies with glowing eyes, tears streaming down their face, showing me their pictures, expressing gratitude. Something in me, the struggles I'd been having personally and my own feeling of like, what am I doing in my life? You know, just this feeling, it all melted away. And I got reconnected with a feeling of purpose and a feeling of wonderment at what we're doing here in Bright Line Eating. All of a sudden, I had no defenses, and their love and their gratitude was flowing into my heart and transforming me at the deepest level. Now, one of those people that I got to meet and hug was Tammy Palmer. Now, I've met Tammy Palmer before. I've been aware of her because she started her Bright Line Eating journey at 5'3" and 329 pounds. And that's a class of obesity that's like obesity class 1, 2, 3, you know, extreme morbid obesity. And you know, Tammy Palmer wasn't an overweight kid. She was a skinny kid, actually, unusually skinny. She was anemic at birth. And she was, you know, a normal weight through grade school, started gaining a little bit of weight in high school, but got married at 130 pounds, not overweight. It wasn't until she got pregnant for the first time and gained 80 pounds with that pregnancy that the weight started to pack on, and then after that, more weight, and eventually, around the age of 50, she weighed 350 pounds, but she had a scale that would top up at that, and she stopped weighing herself after 350 pounds. She said that if she saw that number go any higher, she would lose it. Like, she would just lose the ability to function at all. So she stopped weighing herself. She doesn't know how heavy she got beyond that. All kinds of health problems, hypothyroidism, which made it really hard to lose weight. Post-menopause and hypothyroidism, she figured it's over for me. I can't lose weight. She would try everything, you know, all of the diets, just name them, the blood type diet and the OptiFast and the on and on and on, right? All the diets. And she hardly lost any weight on them at all. She said it was freaky. Like, she would really follow them precisely and barely lose anything. It just felt like the effort she would put into losing weight just never came back in the form of any kind of results that were satisfying at all. So she was on 2 medications for her blood pressure, and even on 2 medications, they couldn't get her blood pressure below 140 over 100. Like, her blood pressure was out of control. Medication for high cholesterol, pre-diabetic, and then osteoarthritis that created pain, and she was on medication for the pain, and the pain was so bad that she never went anywhere or did anything. Like, literally didn't go to the grocery store because it was too painful to stand in line. So she needed knee replacement surgery, both knees. But she needed to lose weight for that. So she searched around, she found a plan. It was pretty healthy. She got down, you know, she lost like 30 pounds. They replaced her knees. And she thought that after her knee replacements, she would be able to be more active, so she would lose weight. Didn't happen. As a matter of fact, the opposite happened. The stay in the hospital food, she said, was some of the worst food she ever ate. She gained weight on that. And then when she was home, her husband was doing all the cooking. It was hard to stay on the plan she'd been following, and she started to gain weight again. She found Bright Line Eating in June of 2016, and she was watching a video very similar to the one that you're watching right now. And she thought, my birthday's coming up in 5 days. Maybe I should wait till after my birthday to start. I can't start right before my birthday. And then she thought, Tammy, there's always another birthday. You gotta start right now. So she decided to enroll in the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. But she didn't tell her husband. He was at work, and she just clicked the button, and she said, I've gotta do it. And then she thought, oh no, what have I done? Because, you know, she and her husband always run by a purchase of that magnitude with each other. So she called him at work and she said, you know those videos I've been watching? Well, I signed up for the program. And he said, how much was it? And she told him. And he said, what? And she said, okay, I'll talk to you tonight. Bye, honey, I love you. And she hung up. So her husband comes home from work, and they're talking all afternoon. And their 27-year-old son is in the house, and he's listening to them talk. And the conversation continues over dinner. And she says, I need to do this. And her husband says, you've tried so many things, really? And her son pipes up finally, 27 years old, and he says, Dad, didn't Mom just have a heart attack a little bit ago? And Dad says, yeah. And her son says, seems to me that this program is less than the cost of a day in the hospital, and probably less than the cost of a funeral. And her husband said, son, you got a point. And he looked at her and he said, look, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You have 30 days. And she looked back at him and she said, fine then, you don't get to sabotage me. And he said, deal. Fast forward, it took Tammy Palmer 1 year and 8 months to lose 180 pounds. And I'm with Tammy Palmer just a few months ago in that room, in that meet and greet. 1 minute she had, and she gave me a hug. And she said, Susan, I'm at Go Weight. I've been here now for months, wearing a size 8. No medications, no pre-diabetes. I can jump and skip and dance on my knees. No pain, no medication for pain. And she said, and my brother, I want to tell you about my brother. Tammy Palmer's brother is 6 feet tall and 160 pounds, no weight to lose. But so diabetic that his A1C, if you know that is the measurement of like how diabetic you are, it's supposed to be like below 6. His was 13. So diabetic that they were worried about him going into a coma on the spot after they measured his blood. And his doctor said, we got to put you on insulin now. And he said, no, give me 90 days. My sister's doing this thing. I want to try that. And so he started Bright Line Eating, and 2 months later, his diabetes was gone. Completely, his A1C was below 6. And he didn't have weight to lose, but that's what it took to turn around his blood condition. Blood sugar stable, everything's normal. So I've got 1 minute with Tammy Palmer, and this is what I'm experiencing. So I met a lot of people that day in that line in 1 minute increments, and it was a very moving day for me. One thing that they all had in common, every single one of them, without exception, had done the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. And I'm here today to tell you that registration is opening for the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. Registration is only going to be open for a short time because it's a course, and the course is about to begin. But since we started offering the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp, we've been collecting research on the back end of the bootcamp, inviting people to fill out surveys at regular intervals. And so, since some time has passed, since I shot those last videos, I wanted to share with you some of the results. In particular, I know not everyone is obese when they start the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp, but let's just take a look at the subset of people who are obese when they start the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. And let's take a look at the subset of people who are obese out in the world doing whatever else people do or don't do to try to manage that, right? And I want to take a look at how the Bright Line Eating results are different. So a recent study published in the American Journal of Public Health showed that of people out in the world who are obese, in 1 year, the odds of them attaining a right-sized body, like a normal BMI, slender, right, are 1 in 210 for men and 1 in 124 for women. And in Bright Line Eating, for people who sign up for the boot camp and then fill out our surveys for 1 year, those odds are 55 times better. 55 times better. Not 55% better. That's 5,500% better. So I just talked about obesity a bunch, right? Tammy Palmer was obese. I just talked about the likelihood of an obese person getting down into a right-sized body with Bright Line Eating or with any other method that's out there. I used to be obese. It's a topic I like to talk about, but I want to make it clear that Bright Line Eating is not just for people who suffer from obesity. So who is the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp for? Well, first of all, it can be a really great fit for someone at any different weight category. Let me explain. Yes, bright line eating is, in my opinion, and the data are bearing this out, so it's not just my opinion anymore, the most effective weight loss program on planet Earth. I know that's a bold claim, but that's what the data shows, right? So yes, it's for someone who's overweight or obese, absolutely. But it can also be a really effective solution for someone who's in a right-sized body, but crazy with food, just obsessed with what they've eaten or not eaten, whether they're on their plan or off their plan, how many miles, how many pounds, how many calories, all of that food obsession. When we talk about living happy, thin, and free, the freedom means freedom from that food obsession. And whether you're morbidly obese, overweight, or even slender, food obsession can absolutely be something that plagues you. As a matter of fact, research shows that a full 22% of people in slender bodies test out as full-blown food addicts. So bright line eating is for anyone who wants more freedom from having to think about what they're about to eat or what they've already eaten or what they need to eat or what they should be eating more of or what they should be eating less of. All of that gets swept away with bright line eating. Now, if we look at the issue of food addiction, yes, bright line eating is really helpful for people who feel the pull of addictive foods. But even if you don't, even if, for example, you're low on the scale, the susceptibility scale that measures, how addicted to food you are, bright line eating can still be tremendously helpful if you're someone who likes the thought of having a clear plan of action around what to eat and maybe has some pounds to lose and would like to lose them. So bright line eating can be for a huge range of people. So you might be really looking to take off some weight. You might have a lot of health challenges because of that extra weight you're carrying around. Or you might be a slender person who's completely obsessed with food and with exercise and maybe measures to try to, compensate for the extra food that you eat, whether it's by purging or over-exercising or laxative use or whatever the case may be. But in any of those scenarios, the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp can get your eating cleaned up, restore peace to your life, and give you a sense of clarity and freedom around your food that you may honestly never have experienced before in your life. It's brilliant. So this is it. I am inviting you to register for the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp. And immediately when you register, you get access to the Clean Start system. This is a checklist that allows you to break free from your old way of eating and living and orient to this Bright Line Eating system. You get to move through it at your own pace, and the 8-week online Bright Line Eating Bootcamp only begins when you click the button and you're ready to start your day one. You also get immediate access to the rapid release weight loss system. This is the exact system that I used 15 years ago to lose all my excess weight, 60 pounds in 6 months, and literally hundreds of thousands of people around the world have used this system now to take off all their excess weight. It works, it works, it works. Remember Tammy Palmer, who I mentioned had hypothyroidism, was past menopause, and no matter what diet she tried, she could never seem to lose much weight? She got on the rapid release weight loss system, and boom, she lost 9 pounds in her first week, 5 pounds the week after that, and was on her way. It absolutely works. But we don't just focus on weight loss here at Bright Line Eating. What we're actually best at is maintenance. So you get immediate access to the Food Freedom Forever maintenance plan. The reason you get immediate access is that there are people in Bright Line Eating who sign up with no weight to lose and they need to be on maintenance right away. Now, this maintenance plan will tailor to your metabolism, your gender, your height, everything that's needed for your specifications so that you can live happy, thin, and free one day at a time, forever and ever. Once you click that you're ready to begin your day one, you will start getting access to the Bright Line Eating system in 8 weeks of video modules released to you once each week. They're tiny little short videos. If you want to watch them all at once and binge watch them each week, it would probably take you about 1.5 to 2 hours. And this is where the magic gets unfolded. In those videos, you'll get access to the Mastering Mindset module, which will help fortify your inner game, because the reality is that taking off weight and keeping it off, as we all know, it's an inside job. So the Mastering Mindset module has got your back. And then, perhaps most important, is the Simply Resume system. Because let's get real, most of us are not perfect. We are human beings here in an environment that can often trip us up. And the magic, the beauty of Bright Line Eating is that we know how to get back on track successfully. So this is not the kind of program where you're going to start, be perfect for a little while, slip up a little bit and think, oh, it's blown now. I gotta wait, till the 1st of next month and try some new plan. Here at Bright Line Eating, we have the Simply Resume system, which teaches all of us that we are not called to be perfect. It's not possible to be perfect, but we're called to be unstoppable. And now, what really makes Bright Line Eating work is our super support package. This is the best part of Bright Line Eating. And if you've been in our Food Freedom Fest Facebook group, you have a sense of what it's like. Our online, private connection and conversation community is the most loving, supportive community you will ever experience in your life. I really believe it's true. And we seed that community with over a dozen people who have done Bright Line Eating, been successful, and are there to answer your questions and support you 24/7, 365, and then a whole cohort of people who are going through the boot camp with you to love each other up, support each other, share those highs, share those lows. It is pure magic. Now, for more tailored support, there's the weekly group customized care coaching calls. These are for questions that you really need sort of expert advice in. So these are coaching calls led by the Bright Line Eating team of trained coaches. And if you've got a specific targeted question, let's say you're going to a specific event and you need to, let's say your cousin's wedding and you need to know how to handle your food given that situation. Or let's say your mother-in-law keeps baking for you and you don't know how to talk to her. There's a million situations that can come up. Let's say that you've got, cooking for a family and you need to know how to handle that. Those weekly coaching calls have got your back. And finally, the ongoing Bright Line buddy list and the mastermind group support system. So if you are someone who wants to partner up with other people and share the journey together, we provide support for that. Of course, if you're an introvert and that's not really your style, you can absolutely opt out of those types of things, but we provide an amazing support package that no matter where you're at in your journey, no matter the type of person you are, you're gonna get the support you need. Now, we also have 3 special interest groups for people with certain attributes, because we found that there are groups of people that do better in the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp when they are in connection and conversation with each other. So for example, one group is for men. Now let's face it, most people who sign up for Bright Line Eating are female. That's just a reality. But we do have a fair number of men who sign up, and we find that when we give them a group, sort of a man cave, to support each other in the way that men do, which is a little different from women, they tend to thrive. Another group that we have is a gastric bypass group. So if you've had bariatric surgery of any kind, you can go in there and get experience and talk with other people who also have had a surgery like that and learn best practices. We also have folks in there who've been doing Bright Line Eating for a long, long time and can share what has worked for them. And finally, we have an eating disorders subgroup, and we have that co-led by Dr. Joy Jacobs, who's one of the world's premier experts in eating disorders. She's at the University of California, San Diego. She runs their eating disorder program there. And so if you come from a background of bulimia or food restriction or binge eating disorder, and you're wondering if Bright Line Eating has the support for you, I want you to know that we do. We have the support for you. As a matter of fact, Dr. Joy Jacobs also does regular group coaching calls with people from an eating disorder background for boot campers. So those special interest groups may or may not have pertained to you, but what I'm about to share absolutely pertains to you, because I've been thinking over the years gradually how to make the boot camp better and better and better. And I've come up with a suite of bonuses, 7 to be specific, that are targeted to certain areas of the boot camp that where there were gaps or people really needed something. So for example, one question we used to get all the time is, are there recipes? What can I eat? And for that, we have an exciting offer for you, which is bonus number 1. It's Katie May's official Bright Line Eating Cookbook. Katie May's an amazing chef, and she's put together a cookbook that will give you 100 or more recipes immediately that you can use to start your Bright Line eating journey right. Now, another thing that people often struggle with is figuring out what their goal weight should be. You start to lose weight and then you wonder, well, what number am I aiming for? Bright Line Eating gives you precision over that number like you may have never had before. And so I've developed the goal weight guidance system. So whether you've lived in your right-sized body for much of your adult life and your weight just got out of hand recently, or you've never been in a right-sized body in your entire adult life, the goal weight guidance system will help you figure out what is right-sized for you. Now, the next 2 bonuses address the fact that, let's face it, we are all too busy and we don't have enough cash. So for the too busy among us, we've got the 5-minute meals menu. This is a food guide that teaches you how you can get meals on the table in 5 minutes. Literally 5 minutes, oftentimes 1 or 2 minutes, I have timed it. And the $5 meals guide shows you how you can eat healthful, delicious foods for less than the slop that you would get through the drive-thru at your dollar menu at the you-know-what kind of place. Like literally meals for under $5. And the final 3 bonuses address those targeted areas that all of us kind of struggle with when we try to implement a new way of eating. So one of them, for example, is when we try to stick to our plan when we're traveling. So the Meals on the Move travel tips takes you through exactly how to handle your food on international flights, in foreign countries, when you're car traveling, like you're gonna get in a car and go on a road trip, when you're weekending, when you're visiting family or friends in their home. Literally every kind of travel situation that you can imagine is covered in this bonus. And then there's the Surviving Special Occasion system, which is tricky, right? So when you're going over to someone's house for a birthday, when you're going to a wedding, when you're going to a bar bat mitzvah, when you're going to someone's house who always bakes for you, when you're going to a potluck, do you bring your food? Do you call ahead? How do you handle it? This bonus module covers every contingency so that you show up prepared and ready to be with the people instead of fretting about the food. And the final bonus is the effortless eating out system, because let's face it, we need to be able to eat in restaurants or a plan is not sustainable. And the effortless eating out system shows you how to get an easy breezy Bright Line meal in any kind of restaurant that you can imagine anywhere. I'm talking about at an airport at 4 in the morning or in any kind of foreign cuisine you could imagine, exactly what to order, how to order, what to look for on the menu. We have got you covered with the effortless eating out system. So when you think about living happy, thin, and free for the rest of your life, finally, it's clear that the value of the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp simply can't be estimated. But there is an investment, and now it's time for me to tell you about that investment. There are essentially 2 ways to go through this material. One is to hire one of our senior Bright Line Eating coaches privately and to go through the material one-on-one. That's a package, and the investment for that is $7,000. If you're interested in that, you go to a website, support.brightlineeating.com, and you scroll down and you read through the options, and there's an option to sign up for private coaching. Or you could do the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp, and the Bright Line Eating Bootcamp is just $497. You can also do a 3-payment plan if you like, but $497 is the best deal. Registration is closing Friday because the course is beginning. And if you register before Friday, you will also get access to these 3 additional bonuses. Now, I have to say these are things that I have never, ever, ever offered before. The first is a complimentary bonus package of the Science of Self-Compassion workshop. Now, I offered this live at the family reunion last June, this is the only way to get access to this material. So the science of self-compassion will turbocharge your Simply Resume system, because ultimately it's self-compassion and self-love that keeps us out of that shame and recrimination spiral that leads to more eating off plan, right? The second bonus, if you finish the boot camp, is a chance to win a one-on-one coaching session with me. Now, I don't ever do these anymore. You cannot hire me as a private coach. I'm unhireable. But for one lucky person who finishes this boot camp, I will provide some private coaching for you. That said, everyone in this boot camp will get access to 2 special live group coaching calls that I will be doing with everybody. And again, I don't do coaching calls anymore with boot campers. So this is a completely once in a lifetime rare opportunity to experience that. Those calls are going to be amazing. I want you there with us. So, as someone who used to have a wicked persistent weight problem and who had tried every single weight loss solution I had ever been exposed to and nothing had ever worked, I'm in the know, and my guess is that there's a part of you that still has a reservation. And so what I want to share with you is that there is a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So here's how this is going to go. You register for the Brightline Eating Bootcamp. You click that button right below. And 30 days from now, either you will be well on your way to experiencing the transformation of your life, your excess weight will be melting off your body at a rate that astounds you, you will be experiencing peace and freedom because the cravings will have gone, and you will feel so much more confident that this is your solution and you have found the answer that you have always been looking for. Or it won't be working for you and you will get 100% of your money back and you will be no worse off than you are today. So what's your choice going to be? I propose that you click that button right below, and what's going to happen is you're going to be taken right into our portal where you've got the Clean Start system waiting for you, which starts off with a video of me saying, welcome, welcome, welcome to the Brightline Eating Bootcamp, and your life is going to be changed forever. So go ahead, register, join us. I will see you on the inside.